Hey everybody out there, I'm Cindy Allen, Editor-in-Chief of Interior Design Magazine, and I'm coming to you live from New York. Welcome one, welcome all to Materials in Times of Change, a Knoll Design Days program. Today, we're going to talk textiles, we're going to talk felt and more, discuss trends, performance, sustainability, and what it takes to make a safe and uplifting workplace these days. Joining me today are three top pros in the fields, and we are so lucky. Now, wherever you are, let's be together and give a rousing virtual applause to Dorothy Casonas, the Creative Director at Knoll. Hi, Dorothy.
Hi, Cindy.
Kim Yao, Principal of the award-winning architecture firm right here in New York, ARO. Hi, Kim.
Hi, Cindy. Hi, everybody.
And coming to us live from Copenhagen, we have Nina Brun, multidisciplinary creative consultancy. It's called Nina Brun Design Studio. Hi, Nina.
Hi. Hi, Cindy. Thank you for having me.
So let's kick it off with the one and only Dorothy Casonas. Dorothy, hi, sweetheart. How are you?
Hi, Cindy. I'm well. How are you doing?
I'm great. Now, Dorothy, there's such a huge pedigree from Knoll, and probably out there, not everyone knows how much you continue to be inspired by Florence Knoll as you design a collection.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, what's interesting for us is, at Knoll Textiles, we're always aware of our heritage, and we have a very special bond with Florence. I mean, Florence started the division, our division, in 1947, and it was really done out of necessity due to the lack of suitable fabric and for modern furniture and quote modern spaces. So I look back at our founding and I think about the new requirements for today. So that's sort of our mindset as we create products. And when things shut down, we had a design, we had a collection that was scheduled to launch, and our immediate conversation amongst management and the design team was like, do we do this now? So we were wondering if we should delay or launch. So finally we said, let's get it out there. But we realized that with this collection, and Chris, if you want to go to the next slide, we had something that could really fill the necessity and the immediate needs of today. And it's kind of a bit ironic. We call it the destination collection. We always try at Knoll, myself and the team, it's sort of ingrained that our motto is always to live up to the name of Knoll Textiles and not off of it, which is very, very important. So, while the destination collection is all about performance, it's durability, bleach cleanability, high UV resistance, but it doesn't shout that because of how we design at Knoll Textiles. So, my motto there also is that we're in the beauty business. And this stripe is a prime example of that. We are first to market with a bleach cleanable indoor outdoor with this really technical all loop epinglay pile construction upholstery, and it was really challenging to do. It took us a long time to develop, and I go back to Florence. I think she would be proud and she would approve.
She would be really proud. We're going to get to Kim. Kim, principal at ARO. Hi, Kim. How are you?
Cindy, I'm great. It's great to see you today.
I know, it's so nice to be all of us together. So Kim, you're an interesting one because you've designed showrooms for Knoll, you've designed product for Phil's Felt, and so to me, you're like the ultimate specifier. Like you know what you need, and if you don't, you want to make it for the marketplace.
That's right, and I thank you. I love being known as the ultimate specifier. And I'm so inspired by what Dorothy was just saying. Some of the things she talked about, I'm always excited when I see the new collection because I immediately think like, where can I use those products?
Exactly.
But I was really interested in what she said about beauty, and I heard like beauty and technology. And I think as a designer who approaches interiors and buildings and spaces, and right now in this moment where we're really thinking about how to create wellness in our interiors. We've always been thinking about that, right? It's about great design. It's about promoting, sort of the wellness of the people who occupy spaces. But in this moment, it becomes increasingly important. And so I think that balance of beauty and technology is kind of what it's all about for us as architects and designers when we think about spaces. And so this is really our work, as you said, Cindy, launched in a way with Knoll in New York with the flagship, and as part of that design, we started really grappling with the question of how could we use all of these great textiles and felt and leather finishes and really use those products as part of the interior architecture. And I remember taking you through that space and talking to you about that, like back in the day when it first. And but what a great story, because for us, it was the beginning of an amazing collaboration with Knoll in New York and in other cities, but also with felt, turning like what was an architectural finish for us into a product line that is called the Aero Collection. And so the intent there is not just thinking about the incredible natural properties of felt, 100% wool material, low environmental impact, a long life cycle, a renewable resource that is biodegradable, all of those sustainable qualities we want to have in our designs, but also realizing, Chris, if you want to go to the next slide, that thinking about acoustic comfort in interiors is incredibly important. And again, really important today, but a really important aspect of creating a environment that supports work and collaboration and personal wellness.
How are some of these spaces being adapted for post-COVID?
Yeah, that is a great question. And we are having conversations with many types of clients, whether people in their companies or schools, different types of environments, for what to do to their spaces. And we're kind of coming back to fundamental great design principles, light, air, view, indoor air quality, both in terms of VOCs and off-gassing materials, but also in terms of air exchange and turnover right now because of the pandemic. And then also, thinking about flexibility, another great fundamental kind of design attribute. A flexible space means that right now teams can return to the workplace and maintain appropriate social distancing because the furniture supports that and the space supports that by decreasing density a little bit.
Okay, so Nina, you've done a lot of, you're multidisciplinary, so you design a lot of things, but you also have developed being an expert in trends over the years. And I know you did a lot of work for Muto. Tell us about what you've been seeing and your work in general.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to tell you a little. Let me just give you a quick introduction. So I have my own company now, but prior to that, I was working at Muto for several years from the quite early start. And at Muto, I was responsible for colors, trends, and textiles and materials. So that's quite a huge part of Muto's DNA. I mean, everyone knows Muto for their colors and material combinations.
Absolutely.
Right now, the picture you see on the screen is actually a picture from my office. And we have this huge material library where we mix and match all sorts of materials and colors and everything. And we use that very active in all of our projects. Just a quick introduction. Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think about, I'm sure you immediately as a company that's, obviously like all of us dealing with how our business will shift and change, but color is, design does not discriminate with any of these kind of colors, but do you see certain colors sort of moving ahead into this new world we're living in?
Yeah, well, I have to say something that you see during a crisis, a world crisis, as I believe we can say that we're in now, all of us, is that we tend to really wish for positivity. So therefore, we go way more bright, we go more colorful overall. Okay. So I think that's something we're going to see in the near future. Of course,
I was hoping you were going to say that.
yeah. I sort of promise you.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things about working with trends is that you, of course, need to be able to sort of predict the future, but you also need to be good at looking back and knowing your history, knowing your architecture, your art, politics, history in general. Working with a company like Muto, it's super important to have a broad range of colors, because you will have to make collections within the collections, because the American market is different than the Danish one. And you go to South Europe, it's very different from Scandinavia. And of course that goes for colors, but it also goes for textiles. I mean, take a sofa to the Southern Europe made of wool, they're not going to sit in it. So, I mean, it's very different, and we love our wool sofas up here. So yeah, for sure, there's a huge difference.
Yeah, but it's sort of nice in a way, right? Because like you said, you've always had deep respect. I mean, who doesn't love Knoll? But then also now they're part of your family in a way. So it's like looking at the two worlds gives you an even broader perspective.
Absolutely. And I mean, along the way, now I'm working with the wonderful Filsfeld.
Yes, love them.
helping them with their collection and developing a new color collection.
In these times, like Nina said, there's a sort of, we felt the need for bright tones, which can make people feel optimistic and energized and sort of create more of a happier place, a happier scheme.
So it seems that the group's not only problem solvers, very true, but also problem predictors. Let's talk a little bit more, Nina, about inspiration. There's the next slide is this beautiful russet.
Yes.
Yeah. That's like, oh my God, it's just like so yummy.
I'm so happy that you like it, Cindy.
Yeah, I love it.
I mean, the previous pictures with all the Pantone coats is a part of the work that I did with the Filsfeld. It's a part of the process. And it's actually just to showcase these two pictures, or these three together, that sometimes it's needed to search for the right tone of, for an example, yellows in something that exists.
I want to get to another topic that is happening all over the world, which is adaptive reuse. And I know we have a great project that is the epitome. Thank God it didn't go away. It sat there forever, and now it's been transformed, TWA, which is amazing. And so happy that their Knoll is very, very present there. So Dorothy, tell us about that.
Yeah, this I chose this project just for the idea of the world when we want to return to and we look forward to, obviously, which is travel and hospitality and hotels again. But as you're aware, the Saarinen TWA terminal is now a hotel, and personally it was a very interesting project because I have memories of going there as a kid when my mom would go to Greece during the summer, and we go and to JFK TWA and drop her off and pick her up. And so this was special to me. It was also a very special project for Knoll and Knoll Textiles. I mean, our product Rivington that you see on the Saarinen stools, it works perfectly with the iconic idea of what TWA was all about, the red, the texture, and then again, it's fulfilling the needs of today in terms of performance.
I want to make sure we show this other image of the stairs at the Knoll showroom, because there's so many designers out there. We talk about creativity. We also talk about creativity with something humble, and really what design can do to make anything special. Tell us about the stairs.
Thank you, Cindy. It's a simple idea where you take a very simple and straightforward stair that connects two floors, but then use the felt, use the color and the natural material and the textile, essentially use that felt to wrap the stairs, so that the felt really brings this warmth. And we love to use those natural materials like felt in places that people kind of come into contact with. I mean, I think one of the things we're really dealing with now in this context is not just thinking about our physical well-being and health, but also our emotional well-being and health, and thinking about beauty and color and interiors, and all the comments that Nina and Dorothy shared about color and mood, I think is really important, because we're spending a lot of time inside, and we need to have interiors that inspire us and support us, I think.
But I do want to thank all of you out there, and know that design will help us move through, and also the humanity that these women showed and Knoll shows every day. And love to everybody out there in the world. And go forth and design, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. Thank you.
Thank you. my God, Alan Stone is in the house, and we are taking one. Hey everybody, I am outside of Photografista, brand new, amazing project in New York City. And today we have, oh yes, Alan Stone. So come on and let's talk about design and music.
Every time I see you, I'm just like, everything is so cool that you are involved in.
That's right, you too. That's why I have a different world. This is like design meeting music. Design is meeting music today.
That's true.
Right? This was a mission from the 1890s.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and it was, so I'm bringing you back to your roots.
Yeah, perfect. Is it connected to this church right here?
Yes. It's a little chapel bar.
Okay,
All right?
let's
All right,
go.
Let's go.
Wow.
This is a wowzer, right?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, yeah. This, Alan, is attached to that church next
Okay.
door. Roman and Williams are this one team, and they used to be set designers in LA, and then they came here, and the whole space is another architecture firm called Sacciarati. Isn't it beautiful though?
It's so gorgeous.
Yeah.
I always love when they redirect light. I don't know who they are, the proverbial designers, but like just covering it and shooting it up.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Is so beautiful.
Okay, you ready to talk? You want to talk?
I'd love to. I've been dying to sit and visit.
Okay, so let's go up.
Let's do it.
All right.
I'll follow you.
Okay.
No, I'll lead. That's the beauty of music, is like you can change it, but the melody is the foundation, and the melody is what brings you back. So
Right.
you can do whatever to the gravel underneath, but the foundation of the melody will always bring you back. That's like a really cool part
I
of
like
a
that,
song.
yeah.
It's almost like, remodeling a building. It's like, this looks like a church from the outside. You
Right.
come in here, man, they got a bar, and it takes on this new form,
Yeah.
which is special.
Yeah, we have to talk about building balance.
Yeah, please.
Yes. On I Will Give You Blue, I'm sure it comes in different ways for different songs, but like where are the little pieces that you start to go, oh, here's a song developing?
Yeah, it was written for my wife, like our wedding. Like there's
Yeah.
not enough songs about the reality of the work that it takes to be in love. But I wanted to write a song that was true to me and my relationship with love, because it takes work, it
Yeah,
takes
totally.
energy, it takes effort, it takes perseverance, it
Yeah.
takes communication, it takes all these things that, we're gonna tell you what, don't come natural to me, and Give You Blue was an attempt at doing that.
You know, you're very poetic. There's something that was like really touching in that one for me was, I can build a mountain,
Yeah.
because I am just a man.
I can't move a
Oh,
mountain.
I can't move a mountain.
Yeah, I am just a man.
I am just a man. But that's so tender. That's so beautiful. I am just a man. Like, who
Yeah.
says that?
Yeah, the next line is,
Yeah.
can't undo what
Do what
happens,
Yeah.
but I will understand. And although it may hurt, I'll tell you the truth.
I'll tell you the truth. You sing it, not me.
When your
but
sky is, yeah.
When your sky is gray.
Great voice. I will give you blue. Want me to sing it?
I do.
Okay.
You will.
Oh, but I can't stop the rain. I will keep you dry. When the shore feels far away, baby, I'll be by your side. And when the storms arise, baby, I will shelter you. 'Cause when your sky is gray, hey, I will give you blue.
Aw, I love that. That was so beautiful.
Thank you.
You know, what's kind of interesting when I think about design and music is that they're very connected. Like architecture and music are very connected, from like the Greek amphitheaters and the Sydney Opera House, like playing in spaces that like capture sound and what it does, right?
The best part about music to me, and art period, is there's no telling what might take place in this room. The designer's not going to come in and be like, no, the only thing that's ever going to happen here is X, Y, Z. This space is completely its own canvas once it's already been painted.
That's what it is.
And with music, what's really cool about that same idea is that you'll go through life and you'll write a song. That song will mean and have a pivot point for your life.
Right.
But you put it out into the world, and it can mean anything for anybody. That to me is like the beauty and the evolution of the craft and design of a song. It's not just my song. Like I'm just the vessel. Just as like an architect, and he just organizes it and makes this incredibly beautiful space that now is functioning for so many different purposes.
It seems like everything that you do, it's really artistic, and the album cover is beautiful.
Thank
so
you.
what are some, I know Rudy's in there, there's like a little rocket in there.
Yeah,
like,
so the album is a picture of me on the front, and I'm very stoic. All of the animations around are beautiful, positive things. My son, my wife, music, the things I love, all these really beautiful, positive things. And it's the balance there is like what's inside isn't dependent on what's outside.
Yeah.
And then the back cover is, you know, this like cheeky smiling, and all the animations are super dark. You know, it's like my relationship with alcohol and touring and living it out of a suitcase and all these like the real character builders in my life.
That incredible album, that blue.
The vinyl was this translucent blue, and that was cool.
That was so gorgeous. That's design, Alan.
But all those things speak to really what the balance that I've attempted to build in my life.
So you grew up in a little town.
Grew up in a one stoplight town in northeastern Washington State. My dad ministered and pastored at a church for about 30 years out there. But my folks sang. You know, that we were a singing family.
Nice.
Being the youngest, I've always been a narcissist, and I realized at an early age that I could get everybody's attention if I stood up and sang.
Right.
We sang as a family at first, you know, every Sunday. We go to church twice a week, and there's always singing at service, which is
singing.
Yeah, the wonderful aspect of church is the music.
Yeah, definitely.
No matter how good or how bad the music is, it's just singing with other people is very therapeutic. I always was bugging my dad, man, can you teach me the guitar, Dad? He'd grab my hand like this and he said, your fingers aren't long enough yet.
Oh.
Fingers aren't long enough to
that's
play
so
the
cute.
chords. So finally I convinced him, just teach me a couple. The first song I learned was a Green Day tune. Time of Your Life.
Did you play that?
Yeah, I can play it.
Sorry.
If I remember it. Another turning point, a fork stuck in the road. Time grabs you by the wrist, directs you where to go. It's something unpredictable, but in the end there's right. I hope you had the time of your life. I learned this song, and then like 3 weeks after learning it was like the 8th grade graduation. You know, we had 8th grade graduation for the class ahead of me. And so they asked me to play this tune in front of
Oh my God.
And I thought, dude, I was like, this is it, you know, this is my gig.
Yeah. When you're designing a song or when you're starting a song, maybe there's one we could break up a little bit for me.
I wrote a song a while back on a plane. It was just a melody and a thought. I had a friend, we were dating at the time, and like, I don't know, we were fighting or something, and she said, if you dig, you'll find dirt. But that stuck with me. In that moment, I kind of just started picking through this idea of keeping your dirt on the surface. I'm just gonna tell it, I'm gonna keep it right here so that people don't have to go digging for it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wear it on my chest.
That's a beautiful song. Love where you're at.
Love
right?
where you're at, yeah.
Yeah.
That dirt on the surface so you don't gotta dig. People that make me nervous try to hide all the sins. Oh, well, I've got no reason just to cover my tracks. My favorite part of learning is just loving where I'm at. It's kind of that same round design, right? Like, yeah, I love where you're at. Keep your dirt on the surface, and you love where you're at.
So beautiful.
I always want to be like a reflection towards the up. When you construct a song like Love Where You're At, that intention is in the design.
You were talking to yourself in a way, right?
Yeah, really. It was really
Yeah.
about myself and coming to terms with
Like, love where you're at, Alan. Love where
Really?
you're at, right?
exactly, like love where you are, even though sometimes.
That's pretty heavy stuff.
Yeah, it's
There's
hopefully it's always heavy. If you're gonna sing a song for the rest of your life, it better mean something.
Yeah. So I do really think that everyone is like responding to Consider Me, right?
Yeah, totally.
And that's also like such a beautiful word. Like it's not like love me or pick me or choose me. It's so humble. It's such a beautiful word, consider.
It is, yeah, it is.
Will you sing a little of that one?
I will,
Yeah,
yeah. If you're looking for somebody who will love you through the night and be there in the morning with the same look in their eyes. If you're looking for somebody who will listen to your thoughts and understand the way you feel with no words at all. If you need appreciation without compensation, someone to give you what you need. If you're looking for some magic that will not end tragic, darling, all I ask is you consider me. Consider me. Consider me, consider me, won't you consider me?
Oh my God.
It's like one thing about guitars that are, I feel like a lot of guitar players are like ashamed to talk about it. But I always
How
feel
much you love the guitar?
how good it looks.
Yeah.
How a guitar looks initially is what makes me want to pick it up off the thing and try to
totally.
play it.
Yeah, totally.
And then once it's got to feel good.
Yeah, yeah.
But the initial connection is the design and how beautiful it is.
Some people are afraid to say that design should be beautiful, besides make you feel better or solve a problem or whatever. Like, so when you say the same thing with the guitar, hell yeah, that's gorgeous.
It's always what draws me initially to anything
Right.
is the look of it. Yeah, if you really sit back and interpret what design is, it's people putting their own character inside something, right?
Right.
Like
Uh-huh.
attempting to try and relay themselves in a medium.
Yeah.
And that speaks to people. It's an ingredient in the salad that's like very important that maybe layman folk like me don't think about as much, but when you're...
You should, because you are all design. I mean,
Yeah.
you are. You said, I play my music, I want people to feel something.
Yeah, whatever
right?
it is.
Yeah, whatever it is. That's the same thing. There's the connection between design and music. I think really taps into the name of your album and what you're going through too, which is Building Balance. It's so nice.
Yeah, thank you.
It's definitely so interesting to hear about like how you design your songs and
Thank you
right,
for having me.
which we love so much. Yeah. All right. Alan Stone, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Oh my God. Yay. You guys can clap, you know, it's okay. Everyone's excited. I used to sing in the church too.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What was your go-to song?
I don't know. Tell me one of yours and I'll tell you.
I
This
always
so
really
long
loved
ago.
It Is Well With My Soul.
It
know
is well
It is well
with my soul.
with my soul.
It is well.
It is
well with my soul.
Hello, my name is Brittany Chevalier McIntyre, and I'm the executive editor at Luxe Interiors and Design magazine. Thanks for tuning in to Luxe at Home on DesignTV. First, a few programming notes. Please like our Facebook page, Luxe Interiors and Design, and keep those comments coming. We love your feedback and knowing more about our readers and viewers. Also, please make sure to follow our Luxe Instagram page, @Luxe Magazine. I'm so happy to be here today, Zooming with 3 fabulous New York City-based interior designers. We have Bennett Leifer, Bella Mancini, and Dan Mazzarini. I've known these 3 designers for some time, and I'm so excited to be sitting down to discuss their work from home spaces and how they're spending their days. Whether it's cooking, baking, watching hours of Netflix, or working tirelessly on current projects. We all know everyone is. So let's kick it off with Bennett. How are you, Bennett, and how are you sheltering? I know you mentioned that you took a rental up in Connecticut.
Yes, thank you for asking. I'm doing well. I ended up renting a house up in Connecticut in Sharon. It's pretty isolated in the woods, so I am following the rules and very much secluded. And I'm spending my days working very hard with my team remotely.
Wonderful. And what about you, Dan?
I'm sheltering in place at the end of the world in Long Island, not far from Bella, actually. We're neighbors out on the North Fork. So I can almost see you from here, except that we're not actually, we're meeting for virtual cocktails, right? So yeah, and out in the North Fork right now.
I mean, what time is it? Can we meet for a virtual cocktail?
You know what? It's 5 o'clock anywhere is the real survival skill of this whole thing, I think. So yes, I'm with you 100%.
I believe so. And Bella, what about you? You're up in the North Fork?
I am. I'm just down the road, as Dan said, from him. And we have been here since March 14th and have only left very infrequently as possible. My days are spent homeschooling and cooking and cleaning and, you know, still doing all of our design work. So
And hairstyling, Bella, don't forget.
Yeah.
And yes, and 5 o'clock rolls around and it's like, you know, I never thought I'd be the person like ready to open up a bottle of wine at 5 o'clock every day, but I am.
Yes, to let the viewers know, Bella just revealed that she cut her own hair, which I'm extremely impressed. Extremely.
You can't see the back. You can't see the back.
Add it to the resume,
That's still
Bella.
really long.
So Bella, that's incredible. I mean, I often wonder with children how a working woman really does that, with really balancing that.
Me too.
With children, and then also on top of work, and then on top of taking care of a family, which men do as well. So,
yeah. You know, obviously I have my own business, and so it makes it a lot easier for me to be the person to be able to kind of, my schedule is a little more flexible than my husband's is, but it's not easy. And God bless these teachers because they are putting in so much extra time. And I have a 6th grader who is super self-sufficient and he's great. I mean, I assume he's doing his work, but I have a 2nd grader and that's a lot more hands-on. So we're just like, you know, doing our best like everybody else. It's, you know, we are so fortunate to be able to be outside of our apartment, and we're healthy, and honestly, like, it sounds so trite, but it's it's all really that matters, you know?
Bella, you play it off like it's easy schmeezy, but your Instagram tells me that your kids have taken over the house, and your beautifully designed North Fork house is, I noticed the other night you were like, Legos under a table equals success.
Look, you know, we just have to pick our battles, and my house is really small, and my apartment actually in the city is bigger than our house out here. So I've never set it up as like a house that we live in. So we are outside all the time, and we're not because it's still really cold. If anyone has seen my Instagram stories, I saved them in my highlights, and I really don't think that any of my best work or being published or any single thing I've ever posted on my Instagram has gotten more attention than that video series. So I don't know what that says, but either it's super relatable or, you know, people just feel sorry for me. I'm not sure which it is.
So in each of these spaces, you know, out of the city, what does your actual workspace look like? Is it at the dining room table? Is it in the kitchen? Is it in the living room? Do you have a specific area where you go to really get your creative juices going? Let's start with you, Bennett.
Sure. So, I mean, I've taken over the whole house as a workspace. So, you know, funny enough, so I'm a creature of habit. So I brought, when I came up here, I brought my own bedding and, you know, all of these things. And the only bed that it would fit on was the guest room. So the only bedroom I'm using is this little guest room. And other than that, I've spread my workspace around all of the main rooms of the house. So my desk is the dining table. My fabric and material library is the kitchen island. My scheming room is the floor of the living room and the foyer. So I just have stuff sort of everywhere, and being able to shuffle around in sweatpants and socks and sort of move things from here to there has been a really nice experience for me, having this extra space and this sort of informality of being able to do it on my own. So
that's wonderful. I know it was amazing to actually do my hair today and put on some semblance of makeup, but I do enjoy the sweatpants. I mean, you gotta say, it's pretty fun. What about you, Dan? What is your work?
No, I think all surfaces are up for grabs. My funny quip about this whole situation. So we have this place in the North Fork that we just bought and just closed on. I had this impulse. I'm like, oh, I want to do an all white house just for the summer before we do a much bigger renovation. So I painted everything white. Like the floors are white, the doors are white. God bless the painter. I was like, just paint the doorknobs white. He was like, are you insane? And I was like, yes, I'm insane about this. But how I really feel insane is our all white house. We've had such rainy weather. It has matched like the outdoor environment. So the sky was white and the water was white. And after a week of it, I was like, I feel like I'm in a giant coloring book and I'm just ready to color on everything. So I haven't yet, but we're only 40 days in. So I have markers again now. This could really be an evolution. So everything is up for grabs. I'm kind of working everywhere. I get the kitchen table. My partner gets a little office space, and that's how we worked it out territorially, I guess.
Well, I'll have a question later about being in your space and realizing what do I want to change now that we're spending so many days in one space. Instead of going in and out of the house, going to work, we're really sequestered, and we end up really noticing things in our house that we need to change. Bella, what about you? What about your workspace at home?
Well, we're looking at it. I work at the dining table, which doesn't usually look that cleaned up. I mean, if you can see to the left of that painting, I also have all the passwords for my daughter's, all her many apps and things that we have to get into. So it doesn't really resemble how I like my house to look, but my husband has an office upstairs, and my son has one of our guest rooms downstairs as his, we put a temporary desk in there for him. So I'm sort of out here with my daughter and, you know, just kind of making it all happen.
So can each of you share one positive practice, a mantra, or an exercise that you found to be helpful during this time? I know we all need an outlet. For me, I moved into this house about 5 months ago, and I bought a treadmill, and I put it right in my bedroom, and it's the biggest eyesore ever. It looks awful, and before this all happened, I was thinking maybe we should get rid of it. But now it's the best thing ever have happened, because now I take, you know, a jog every morning, and that's really how I stay centered. And, it really sets a positive tone for the day. So do any of you have any exercise mantras or any mottos or anything that you're doing?
Not necessarily a mantra, but, this whole experience has really taught me to be the kindest version of myself. In the past, I've been criticized both personally and professionally for not being the most patient person. And through this process, people have had to be very patient with me. I'm not great with technology. And I think on working on a rather large project right now, having people have to get really resourceful with getting me samples and information on things, they're all sort of stretching themselves and really going beyond their limits to help me. And in turn, it's really showing me that a little bit of kindness goes a long way, and I'm paying that back. So I think, I can't come up with a pithy mantra for it, but I'm just really exercising the practice of just being kinder and more patient in sort of every practice of my life.
What about you, Bella?
I have actually started to meditate, which is something that's been on my to-do list for, 10 years. And I find myself that I have the time now. And so I downloaded the Calm app, and I found one teacher that I really love. His name is Jeff Warren. And I've been doing it every day for 10 minutes. And it's really helped me kind of set my intention for how I want my day to look, and staying organized and patient as a mom. I also do an online workout, which I've done. It happened before this all happened, but it's called Obey Fitness, OBE. And I do their classes, and they have them on demand, and they also have them live. And I love those. I'm trying to get outside, but it's always raining.
Always.
Always raining. So I'm trying to get outside as much as I can and take walks and, ride bikes or do whatever, but mainly I'm doing things indoors. But I find that the meditation has been really great. I very much hope I can bring that back into my normal insanity of life.
Good for you.
Yeah, very good for you. I'd love to learn to meditate. I think that it's
that's the app. I'm telling you, it's great. And he's the only teacher I've ever not sat there and gone, oh my God, he's so annoying.
Which app is it?
Pardon?
Which app?
It's Calm, the Calm app.
Oh, okay, yeah, I've heard of it.
There is Jeff Warren, and I really like him. He's also doing these live meditations on YouTube, and it's been kind of fun to start.
And what about you, Dan?
My sort of mantra and so let's take a step back. I aspire to be one of those wellness centered people in this, and come out the side better and achieving something that I set out to do. I don't know if that's going to be the case. I'm trying it all. So I started working out with a trainer at the beginning of the year. When I came out here, we were working remotely. Their foundation is called Second You. It's actually people who were previously incarcerated. They train them to be trainers. So I have this great trainer. We worked out 5 times together. And finally I was like, I got to move on to making chocolate chip cookies instead. So total 180, right? I now am 4 recipes into chocolate chip cookies. That was working. I was like, I should read more. So I tried to read, and then that devolved into being maybe this book is on Netflix instead. So I'm basically every good habit that I try to form is counterweight by some sort of just give in, what the heck, just go ahead and do it. So, but I think on the other side of this, I'm trying to hold both, right? I think we all are, that we're trying to do things that make us feel good with intention, and then we just got to lean into those little bit of extravagances too, just because I think it's creature comforts that are going to get us through. So that's me, the runner, eating a chocolate chip cookie while he's doing it.
And then 5 o'clock rolls around so fast every day.
Wine o'clock is getting earlier and earlier.
I like that. If you're just joining us now, you're watching Luxe at Home on DesignTV. So my next question is, since we're all in our homes and I'm speaking with 3 wonderful, just amazing interior designers, I have to ask, can you share a design tip or something that you've noticed in your home that you need to change? And along those lines, can our viewers do that as well?
For me, it's not my own home, but something that always calms me at any point in my life is always organizing and cleaning. For me, it's sort of a simple, repetitive activity that can just take me out of my own mental zone. So I think bridging that into sort of more of an advice tip, I think that while you have time and while you're spending a lot of time in your own home, you can really be looking at how you can use the space better, how it can be better organized, and how you can make it function in a more appropriate way for you. You know, whether that's just like a once over of your bookshelves or your medicine chest or how your garage is organized. I think really making it a fully functioning home is a great way to use your time.
I agree completely. Some of the things I've also been doing are like those things that are on your list that you really never do. So like I polished silver one day because it's just like I'm staring at it in the cabinet for, what feels like year after year, and it's never polished. So I polished silver one day. I ironed sheets one day. And for me, it's like when I first got out here, I thought I was going to do, all of these things all of the time, but cleaning out the medicine cabinets and organizing them nicely, and especially in a weekend house where you're kind of like not even sure what you have, it's been a fun thing to do. I mean, as fun as those things can be.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I feel like for me, we came out here in a sprint and we ended up having to pack our city kitchen to bring it out because we didn't have any pots or pans or anything at this little house. So we showed up with kind of whatever we could grab on the way out. And what it's taught me is, I think designers at heart are always like fancy hoarders. We all have samples and things, and we've all cleaned up our places for this video. But, the reality is I've really enjoyed living with less. And it's something that I didn't think I could do. Like I like stuff. That's so much of what I like about being a designer, but it's been a fun experiment in trying that. So yeah, I would say, you don't need to order anything. You don't need to buy paint. You don't need to do any of those things. What can you sort of remove from your room to make it feel different, make it look different, make it function differently, and try to live a little bit more simply right now? I think in honor of Earth Day that was yesterday too, it's maybe a good mantra. Speaking of mantras, Brittany, maybe that's one we could try.
Yeah. Simplicity, a return to simplicity, right?
For sure.
So I know, Bella, you mentioned the Calm app. I'd love to know what each of you, if there's a favorite app that you've just become obsessed with recently, or a amazing book that you're reading, or a favorite television show, or baking, cooking. I know, Dan, you mentioned that as well. So I'd love to hear from each of you, something that you're just so enjoying doing that's not work.
So I've been cooking a lot, but I'm not a great cook. So I've sort of settled into one routine of making the same pasta sauce over and over again. So I'm enjoying the one thing I can cook well.
That's good.
Bennett, you do know that like assembling is also cooking. I got this as a tip from someone. It's like a sandwich should totally count.
My sous chef skills are great, and my little prep bowls and ramekins look gorgeous before they go into the pot. So that's
styling is half the battle.
So besides Obey and the Calm app, I've always been an avid New York Times cooking subscriber. So that's been like really super critical for me because I'm cooking a ton. And for us, I'm watching more television. I don't watch a lot of TV normally. And that's been actually super fun. I've been forcing myself to sit down at the end of the day. And we are late adapters to a few shows. So the audience will probably laugh that we just started watching The Office for the first time. And it's been really fun to watch with my 11-year-old because he's developing such an awesome sense of humor from watching it. And also Schitt's Creek, which my 7-year-old daughter thinks is the best name in the world that she gets to say and doesn't get in trouble. And I by myself have been watching Modern Love on Amazon TV.
Yeah, that's a fun. It like combines the Times and a TV show. So I think it's a
love it. I mean, my husband thinks it's the lamest thing he's ever seen, and he won't watch it. But I watched the whole thing over the course of like 2 days. So
I watched one of the episodes by myself. This was like pre-COVID.
Yeah.
And I was like, found myself crying. I was like, what the hell is this show?
Yeah.
Why is this happening?
Yeah, we watched it together. You see?
Perfect. Together, apart, alone, together, whatever the saying is right now. Yeah.
And Dan, what about you?
Yeah, I'm trying to read. So I started like 7 different books. They are beautiful styling things on my nightstand right now. Trying to avoid cutting my own hair. most of my personality is in my hair, so this is a really challenging one for me. But I read on Instagram, you're not supposed to do that. So I'm trying to hold back. Although Bennett and Bella, you guys look great. Maybe I should pick it up. It's great.
I know, it looks great. My husband has asked me to cut his hair and I said, no way, I am not going to be responsible for that.
Yeah, I want to cut my partner's hair because I want him to be my guinea pig and see how it goes.
That's a good idea. Well, actually, to share with you, I'm currently reading Where the Crawdads Sing.
Oh, that was so good.
And I'm loving it.
So
it was
good.
actually given to me by another Luxe editor, Catherine Gibbon, our market editor. So shout out to her. And then I've also been kind of reading, this is a little crazy. Have you heard of The Mole People? Since we are from New
Oh, I
York?
don't know this book, but the cover is really doing it for me.
It's really about these underground communities below the subway.
Yeah.
It's like people live down there. So it's interesting. It's kind of scary, but and a little dark. So that's why I like to balance both. But you know, it's all good. So what are each of you looking forward to the most on that glorious day when we get the all clear? Now, we don't really know when that's going to be, but what are you looking forward to most?
Haircut.
Hair
Haircut
color.
number one, and then I think like I keep going on walks like Bella does, and I'll cross people across the street, and my greeting is like, "Hello, humans." I miss people, so I can't wait to get back and just be able to be with people again. And I know that's like a great generality, but I'm ready for it. This extrovert is like ready to bust out. So
Yeah.
I cannot wait to get like really dressed. Like I'm not talking like jeans and a sweater dress. Like I'm going to do like 5 costume changes in one day. And like with accessories and everything, I'm going to wear all my most amazing shoes. And I already told our nanny that she's going to work overtime for like 2 weeks because I'm going out every single night.
Where are you going to go?
I don't know, just to dinner. I just don't want to cook. It has nothing to do with even being out. I just want to go have somebody serve me in a restaurant. That's all.
That sounds
restaurants
fun.
will thank you too.
Yeah.
What about you, Bennett?
I mean, I just want to, simple things. Like, I just want to hug my family. You know, like I haven't seen them in so long, and it's been great FaceTiming with them, which is a cool new tool, you know, for when I don't see them. But there's a lot of just like basic things like that. But I also just miss my normal routine. You know, I've been working a lot like everybody else, but I want to walk to the office and put the key in the door and sit at my desk, and then, you know, go to the trainer after work, and I want to go shopping on the weekend. I mean, just sort of all of those things that I took for granted before, and now I almost feel a little frivolous thinking about because of the bigger global situation. But, you know, I miss the normal little things. So any of that, all of that is what I'm looking forward to.
I agree with you. I have my daughter is 6 months old, and she hasn't seen her grandmothers in almost 6 weeks. And she's, you know, you grow a lot when you're that small. So even the fact that she's talking and she's like getting a tooth and all these different changes, and I can't wait to see the reaction from my mother-in-law and my mother and to see them together. So that's something that I'm really looking forward to, is to get the family, because we do FaceTime all the time, but it's not the same. It's good enough for now, but that's what I'm looking forward to. So if you had a crystal ball, how do you imagine the notion of home, you know, will evolve coming on the other side of this? How will priorities change? And, you know, how will the pendulum swing when it comes to design and the decoration of homes? Will people, I think it was either Bennett or Dan was saying, Dan, it was simplicity. You were talking about simplistic living. So do you see it sort of going that way?
I think simplicity will partner with intentionality, right? Like, you know, rarely is design impulsive, but I think it's so reactive to like how you're feeling in that moment. I think the reality of families or couples, whoever, being at home with another person or many other people, or coworkers as we started to call them, for so long, I think has shown some challenges. So I think people will start to really focus on home office. I think more people will work from home more often, because I think this time has taught us that we can. And with that too, I think you'll see people being really more mindful of what their backdrops are. Is this okay? I don't know. But you know, like for reasons like this, I think people will start to take care about this, less reacting to like right in the moment and pre-planning sort of, you know, a virtual setup for themselves.
Wonderful. What about you, Bennett? Do you think it'll really change the pendulum?
I do. I mean, I love what Dan said about it being, I think the word you used was intentional. You know, in my experience with my clients right now is that they have more mental space to think about these decisions and really think about, you know, well, how high of a back on a chair do I generally like, or how do I want to use the space, or do I like drawers or doors on a cabinet? And so I like the interactive process of working with people. It feels a lot more rewarding when it's like a eureka moment for them, when they're really going to love what they're getting and how the overall finished product is going to turn out, and it's really personal for them. So I think with people spending more time in their home and having a little bit more time to really focus on what they need and what they want, I'm hoping that the pendulum will swing towards more intentional design, more personalized moments.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I started my business in 2000. So after 9/11, I think we saw sort of, I mean, obviously they're very different things, but the same kind of feeling about the home and creating safe spaces. And I think that we got, over the last many years, got so far away from that in a lot of ways with the advance of technology and us being like also separated, and the disconnection of everything. I think people are going to be in a very celebratory mood after this, and wanting to be kind of out and social. But I also think that they're going to be wanting to create safe spaces and places that they can really, like, you know, celebrate friends and family and the things that you and Bennett are talking about, of having people into their homes again. At least that's what I know that I will be doing. So it's not necessarily even just about like, I don't necessarily think we're going to get, you know, calls to completely renovate the house within the next few months. I think it's going to be more like, you know, I want a really comfortable chair in this room, and I really do need a desk in my weekend house in my home. So, you know, doing what we always try to do, which is really super thoughtful design, but I think people will be thinking about that a lot more.
Can you imagine if we answered every house will not have a library and a bar?
A bar in every room.
Or a library bar? Maybe that, right?
Perfect.
My crystal ball, library bars in every house.
So we have about 1 minute left. I would just love to get, you know, some words of advice from every single one of you about staying positive during this time. So Bennett, let's start with you.
Oof, 1 minute. I would say, you know, look at yourself from above. I mean, are you being the best version of yourself? Are you proud of how you're handling yourself in this moment? That's the best advice I could give you.
Yeah. What about Dan?
My advice is be kind to yourself. You know, I think if you reach out to each other, be good to each other, but be kind to yourself. Listen to what you need. If it's cookies, it's cookies. If it's TV, it's TV. If it's painting a room, go for it. And if you want to laugh, laugh. If you want to cry, cry. I think we're all in this together. And on the other side, we'll have a heck of a lot of stories to share. So, yeah.
I think that everybody needs to give themselves a break. Like, you don't need to learn French. You don't need to master, you know, Julia Child's cookbook. You can just kind of be and do what feels right. And if your house is a mess, it's a mess. Like, just do your best, and also tap into your community. This design community has been so terrific for me. And I've had people reach out to me that I don't even speak to very often, and they have become my regular business confidants. So with you know, in your business or in your personal life, my high school girlfriends and I, who I speak to a few times a year, we are in a regular text message chain. It's like really brought a lot of joy to my everyday. So reaching out to people, but like, you know what, if you don't, like, I don't know, retile your bathroom, oh well.
I agree. I mean, what is the best thing is really making those connections again with friends and people that you haven't spoken to in a really long time. So I think that is a great takeaway. And to give yourself a break, relax.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Bennett. Thank you, Dan, and thank you, Bella, for your time and for being here with me today. And thank you to our viewers for joining Luxe at Home on DesignTV. My name is Brittany Chevalier McIntyre, and we'll see you next time.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the Roundup. I'm Rajagopal, editor of the forthcoming NYCxDESIGN magazine. Every week, NYCxDESIGN's Roundup brings you stories and voices from designers and entrepreneurs in one of the most creative cities in the world. Design is constantly in search of new ideas, new ways to absorb the world, to make sense of the world, and to change the world. This quest sometimes takes designers inward to contemplate their own thought processes. Some designers turn to output and expression. How can those ideas be shared or implemented in new ways, in more effective ways? Yet others find themselves in reinvented relationships with nature, with other human beings. This week on the Roundup, we bring you 5 stories of designers on this quest for the new and the unexpected, including 2 stories from recent graduates of the Parsons School of Design and the Cooper Union School of Art.
I'm Rachel. I founded Calico Wallpaper with my husband Nick in 2013. I was working as an art therapist at New York City hospitals, and Nick was working as an interior designer and contractor at the time. When Hurricane Sandy hit, his projects were on hold and my hospital had closed down. So we had an opportunity to collaborate and work together, which is something we had always dreamed of doing. Nick showed me these beautiful marbleized papers that he had found. I started creating marbleized papers of my own, and then he photoshopped the marbleized artworks into the interior spaces that he was designing to create a non-repeating marbleized wall mural. I've been fortunate to be able to spend quarantine upstate in Hudson, New York with my husband and 2 kids, and had the unique opportunity to be together and to be creative, and I've been able to share some of my art making and studio practice with the kids. So something that's really fun is suminagashi marbling. You don't need a lot of space. All you need is a small tray, water, ink, and photo flow, a few brushes, and some containers. It's a very meditative process. It's reflective, it's soothing, it's simple. 1 brush with ink and 1 brush with photo flow overlaid on top of each other to create this beautiful concentric patterning. You can also blow on the surface of the water to create another type of pattern that almost looks like the texture of tree bark. It's a really experimental and intuitive process that I've really enjoyed, and it's actually one of our collections at Calico. We have a suminagashi collection, and it's been fun to kind of re-explore the process upstate and to get my kids involved. It's been a really unique opportunity to reflect on the work that we've made. It's been such a process to go through all of our archives. We ended up bringing with us some of the original marbleized papers that we created for our first collections, and I've really enjoyed looking through them and analyzing them and dreaming up new concepts and ideas for what we'll make in the future. Being in nature has been very grounding and restful, and having this kind of quiet space to reflect, I think, will really inform the work that we create moving forward. We've been taking walks in nature every single day, collecting leaves and sticks and specimens, and just really investigating our natural environment And it's really bringing me back to my roots and what originally inspired our collections when we first launched the company.
Hi, it's Spencer here, an architect and a beekeeper at Cook Fox Architects. Today we're going to be doing a hive inspection on the 17th floor of our roof terraces. We have two hives on our roof terrace. This is called a Longstrath hive. This is what's called the bottom board. Brood chambers, the bottom two boxes where the queen is living along with the rest of the colony. So above the brood chambers, we have what's called a queen excluder. You can see just the edge of the metal queen excluder here, and it's like a mesh. This is called the honey super. You can keep stacking boxes up above the queen excluder, and the bees will be filling that with honey. This is the entrance of the blue hive. You can see we have a little door with a window into the hive so that you can take a little peek inside and see how the bees are doing. It faces the main conference room, and so you're able to see the entrance of this hive. And we love our green roof, and so a few years ago we made little green roofs for the beehives, which, you know, we have just some herbs. Right now we have some chives growing, and we have some nice little blossoms coming from the chives. These are the main tools of the beekeeper. We have the smoker, we have a brush, and we have a hive tool. This is a smoker I was talking about, which you want to have some embers in. You don't want a fire in here. You want a cool smoke. If the smoke is too hot, it can actually harm the bees. You just want a cooler scent of smoke that will inhibit their pheromones. And to begin with, you want just a little bit of a fire to start some of those embers. And then just to kind of make sure that it's smoke that you're getting in that fire, I just kind of throw a piece of newspaper on top. And there you go. And you just have to kind of keep this going every once in a while, give it some puffs. So there's an outer cover and an inner cover. Because the bees tend to glue everything down with the propolis, the outer cover acts as a kind of weather barrier. So I'm down into the primary brood chamber. I'm using the smoke judiciously. I don't want to over smoke them and really irritate them, but I do want to keep them calm, keep them out of the areas that I'm working so that I'm not squishing too many bees. I like to work methodically. When you pull the frames out of the box, you want to put them back in the same order. So, you know, if you come up with a system, you can make sure that you always put them back in the same order that you took them out. And there you can see a nice frame of bees. You see some capped brood here. You see some pollen up here. These are mostly worker bees here. And then you can see a drone. That one is a drone there. It's considerably bigger. A drone is a male bee. So all the worker bees are female, and then these really big ones here are the male bees. And they have really big eyes. The queen is on this frame. I don't know if you can spot her. I'll give you a second to spot her if you want to try. She's a really beautiful queen. She's right here. She's walking around. And she is genetically identical to all of the other female bees in the hive. She shares a mother with the other bees. However, she has a fully developed reproductive system. And so she is laying 1,000 to 2,000 eggs every single day. Her singular job is to be laying eggs for the hive. And a healthy, strong queen means that the population is going to expand very quickly. It's a good sign for the hive for the year. And you can see how all the other bees move out of the way for her. She has a special pheromone that she's giving off that all the other bees like to maintain a happy, healthy hive. Every single bee in this hive needs just a little bit of that scent from her. I wanted to give you a quick view down into the hive. It's kind of great, one of the things I love. You can see all the bees being very industrious. Yeah, they're looking good today. I'm wrapping up the inspection, and I'll close up the hive in a second. So now this last frame that's going in is going in really slowly, just to allow the bees to kind of get out of the way and you know, make some space for sort of all the bees that are coming back in. right, now I'm gonna stack the hive back up just how it was and close up the hive. And there we have it. The hive inspection is done. You can see the entrance of the hive again, the 2 brood chambers and the honey super, and then the green roof is back on top. Thanks for watching, and hopefully we can do this again soon.
Hey, welcome to the online Infinite Clay exhibition. Perhaps before I dive into the tour, I ought to give a little bit of an explanation of what playful design is. This is playful design, or at least the entrance to the exhibition. It is an exhibition oriented around and through playful design by means of playful design. Its meaning meant to be played with rather than known, sort of like a junkyard adventure playground of ideas, thoughts, theories, and examples. It's admittedly a bit uncertain, even in its own uncertainty, but is intended to afford such for others to feel and be the same, because this is design when we take on the design in and with and of social constructs. You know, the serious designer, well, they take social constructs seriously as certainties with a logical and moral absolutism. But playful designers, well, they take social constructs more like made-up rules, which need not be obeyed because frequently they manifest in ways of being imbued with all sorts of oppression and oppressive forces. And so playful designers question them, they navigate them, they wield parts and portions of them and imagine alternates with and for freedom. This is tricky work. It's no easy task because it takes place and exists in a state and a space of confusion, uncertainty, and non-knowing. And all the same necessitates a courage to move forward, to be decisive, to act with whatever ethical foresight we might muster. In this exhibition, we afford such a state and such a challenge with poetry, lyricism, aphorism, nonsense. We use tools like double, triple, quadruple, entendre, and misdirection and trickery as playful, purposeful design decisions, because the decisions of design, and what we afford with design affords ways of being. And if we don't think about what and how and why we design, when we design, then that which we do design can't do so for others. So knowledge, knowing, are not the central design pursuit here, nor is resolution or decomplexification or even sense-making for that matter. No, the intention here is thinking and being and playing, because it is in the mode of play that we might begin to imagine ways to connect the seemingly incommensurable. To clarify and to qualify, the playful designer is not so much a single way of being as much as it is an amalgamation of multiple, 5 ways of being, to be precise. And I'd like to explain them, but to do so would be counterintuitive because they are inherently at play and in flux in the minds of those who engage and explore these ideas. They seemingly must be interpretable and pliable and playable to be true to this form of design. So,
I think at first I was a bit resistant of the hinge mind. I wanted to say, if only paradigm shift were so simple as to say, I can. But crucially, if this is a call towards the beginning of a kind of art or a way of being or a state of mind, if that's what needs shifting, at least as a start, then I think it's worth it to find the hinges, open some secret doors, and peek inside. And I guess I can't imagine that it's actually a simple thing to do.
When I was originally thinking about my role as a shapeshifter, I was planning to refute the premise in an attempt to be playful. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized that is a pretty good characterization of the way that we approach the work. What the notion of shape-shifting summons to me right away is that of the trickster. The trickster in mythological systems is someone that is trying to challenge the way people behave and the way people think, as well as shifting perspectives. Sometimes it will be coyote and sometimes raven. And I think that shifting dynamic creative approach to the work, I think, is vital. And I think that always the shapeshifter is striving for transformation of the hearts and minds of the people involved in the process.
Thoughtfully. Much of our context is born from someone else's imagination. There can be power, danger, and opportunity in our being. Our language, ideas, and actions can usher joy as much as they can grow pain or breed complacency. Strive for a deeper picture than just one person's gaze, even your own. Stay full of imagination and in constant pursuit of the whys and hows. You always have the chance and the choice to hold justice as your foundation.
New York Times crossword, April 1st, 2006, 14 down. Responsible versus response-able. Obligation, control, and care over someone versus personally finding the courage / being given the space to respond / removing barriers in order to let those who often aren't given the space be the voices that guide us. The endless possibility of solutions when allowed barrier-free responses. 39 across, how you have to think to solve this puzzle.
Genuinely free is the ability to pick up the systems and those structures that were created long ago, to look underneath them at their edges, their materials, their designs, their effects, and their doorways, and develop their values anew. This requires the function of a door to be based on the beauty of its panel and its glazing, not its ability to shut people out.
Now that we're all a bit more familiar with the means and the modes of playful design, I think it is a good time to get into this tour. So in this exhibition, you can explore understanding constructs and the construct of understanding and the role both play in informing the practice of playful design. You can delve into how design designs being, and you can dwell deeply, reflexively, poetically on your own playful and serious sensibilities. And you can play with the design elements in order to find your own ability to respond playfully. And you can consider your own freedom and who has enabled it and for whom it has implications. Because ultimately, the choice is yours. Yes, this exhibition is online, but infinite play, playfulness, and the capacity to design playfully is all around. The opportunities are constant and ever present. And so with an optimistic and critical spirit, I encourage you, all of you, to begin designing playfully. Because it is in this beginning, conscious, a bit confused, but playful, that we might stay with and play with the most tricky and challenging of our troubles. Thank you.
The rapid growth of technology, a large perpetrator of climate change, is deeply connected to the physical apparatus of the cloud. This publication is concerned with the physical coordinates and infrastructure of the Internet and all of its constituent modularities. What powers the Internet? Who powers the Internet? Is the Internet free? The question that often remains unprovoked as the power sources of digital infrastructure and the byproducts of this infrastructure. Business as usual takes an ecological approach to answering these questions and showcases the work of artists, engineers, and architects who are exploring these issues. Today, the digital economy uses 10% of the world's total electricity, the same amount that was used to light the entire planet in 1985. How do human beings relate to evolving technology? Are we living in a dystopian present? Has our assimilation been so well hidden that we haven't seen it? Are we shaping the future with technology? Or has technology begun to shape us?
In the first act, at the beginning, I am describing, that is, after the fact, aware of what has been various conditions of present acute allocations. I prepare an outset, more or less dramatically, an arc, of which the progression can then slowly, steadily embark and or proceed on, to be determined. Does its momentum accelerate slowly in progress, 0 to 100, or is its beginning a full-fledged performance within that set universe? I mourn my own various absences, and describe my shortcomings by means of living up to a set parameter of inconsistencies, whether self-regulating can be considered self-care. Dear superior, dear subordinate, my body as an individual to correct is prosthetically dematerialized and displaced. Today's brief, ungraspable extension, a single history defined as limited and defective by biotechnological devices, ensure the need to continually enhance my own ability, functionality, and structure. Fluctuating towards a minor awareness, yet highest sense of consciousness, a pulsing, everyday, needled thread, morphing into a, at times, banging rope, pulled around piled up, frozen, extrinsic body parts, responding to various impulses you'd usually feel carried away. Onward and onward, a up will be as far as ever, the down, the weakest platitude. The culturally valorized mode of living that corresponds to this notion of wellness entails closely watching one's bio levels and adjusting pharmacocktails at any sign of slipping above or below ever-shifting thresholds of normality. Following up on the list of unlearned abilities, moving on from recitement to forward scripture, a ticking cult of computation, perpetual reckoning, etc. Artificial parts are seen as a way to rehabilitate bodies and social identities. Following up on the list of unlearned abilities, moving on from recitement to forward scripture, a ticking cult of computation, perpetual reckoning, etc. Artificial parts are seen as a way to rehabilitate bodies and social identities, a complementary response to the notion that we are all potentially impotent, sick, in which wellness depends on the continuous collection, analysis, and management of personal data through digital sensor. Prosthetics were powerful anthropomorphic tools that reflected contemporary fantasies about ability and employment, heterosexual masculinity. The post, and if you're wondering, that convincing able bodies that convalescence was not a problem, I here illustrate the technical achievement of accurate, consumer-grade signal processing. I resume.
We have reached a point of no return. Where do you go if you know the end? Do you live your life fatally complacent, inextricably nihilistic, or do you hold on tight to your sense of hope for dear life? We are interested in how you cope with issues of scale. Is the plastic issue too small if we still live in a fracking economy? Is it too late? How big or small of a space do you hold for climate in your day-to-day? What will need to be deconstructed?
In one side.
Hi, I'm Arlene Anger, an interior designer and gallerist in New York City.
We are located in Manhattan, Upper East Side, on Madison Avenue, 15 East 71st Street, Suite 2A. I have loved art and design since I was a child. I believe that design is a true form of art, and that every culture has a unique form of art and design that identify it. In short, I believe in the art of design. As a lover of art and design, I spend my days embracing them with the same amount of love and inspiration the artist puts into it. Learning about an old master or an emerging artist will be honored with exactly the same level of same enthusiasm. Working in design gave me the opportunity to embrace art as a focus in my interiors. I like to be inspired by art in so many of my projects. They can be indoors or outdoors. Bringing the outdoors in is something I love to do when creating new spaces. My goal is to create a visual effect that will easily add color therapy to the space I'm designing. Following my true passion for interior design and art, I found my interior design firm in 2006. My firm is fluent in a range of styles, from mid-century modern to classical and contemporary. My designs are colorful, comfortable, chic, and inspired by the client's individuality. I identify with the multicultural symphony that is New York City and contribute as much as I can to its creative artistic spirit with my soulful projects, as well as an art gallery specializing in contemporary fine art and heritage antique furniture. I also design and manufacture a Made in America bespoke furniture collection available through our store at arleneangerstore.com, and I recently launched a vibrant line of area rugs. Understanding design is extremely important for us. Open and close conversations with our clients is extremely important. It marks the success of every project as well as the outcome we always aim for: happy clients. I like to create both luxury residential and commercial spaces and execute my work with an extreme attention to detail and sensitivity to clients' needs and requests, including universal design, green design, and smart technology. My couture interiors will centerpiece art in a welcoming fashion. My landscape projects present whisper of quiet sophistication and flashes of enduring luxury. I take pride in transforming houses into homes. Curating global art exhibits and in my own gallery is fascinating work that never ends. It's so magnificent to be surrounded by so much beauty, form, and function with art and furniture pieces that you feel constantly inspired. Giving lectures on design and participating in panels regarding art and culture is something that I like to share with my audience, and using different platforms too, with posts and newsletters. Follow us in Instagram as Arlene Anger. Offer a diverse portfolio of services, including curated designs, bespoke interior design, fine art consulting, and complete architectural renovation and new construction has been our forte. And lately, I have been working with more freelancers than ever and in satellite remote projects, so the learning curve is still steep as well as the employment curve. When you love what you do, there are no limits on what you can create, so I'm going to continue enjoying art design and do my favorite hobby, gardening, where I like to enjoy nature and every single element that is part of that freedom. Check our portfolio at arleneanger.com or come to visit us at our gallery. We are open by appointment, or shop online with us at arleneangerstore.com.
There truly is no one way to be a designer. And that's why so many designers love what they do. For all of you who have participated in NYC by Design's Roundup so far, thank you. A big, big thank you for sharing your stories with all of us. It has truly been inspiring during some challenging times. And for everyone else tuning in, head over to nycbydesign.com to see past episodes of the Roundup. We will be back soon with another set of stories from the most creative city in the world. Until then, stay safe and stay inspired.